This 4 years ago in extra time against Japan. Miller Jedinak was part of that squad. Just behind him, Tim Cahill as well. Not resting perhaps on his shoulders in the goal scoring department. Scored at now 3 Asian Cups in a row to go with 3 World Cups in a row. And at the other end, trying to keep them out, number 20 there, Trent Sainsbury. Ivan Franic, who knows this ground very well, spent several years playing for Brisbane Roar, who play their home matches at this venue. And behind him, the bald head of Mark Bresciano getting his first starts of this 2015 Asian Cup. It's a very attacking feel to this Australian lineup. They will be expected to take the game to the Chinese opposition. They have a little bit of quality in their ranks as well. Watchers of European football will no doubt remember their captain, Zheng Shi, who played both in England with Charlton Athletic and with Glasgow Celtic in Scotland. Watch out for the number 7 there, just centre screen, Wu Lei. Comparisons made with the Argentine legend Diego Maradona over the last few years. Of equal importance, the number 8 there, Che Hui Kang, who will play as one of the screening midfielders as they look to boss the centre of the park and squeeze out the host nation. They're in good form, having won all 3 of their games in Group B. Australia with 2 wins, 1 loss. They've got to put that to the back of their minds and think forward towards the semi-finals. That's the bare minimum that is expected here in Australia of the hosts. Can they deliver? So the second quarter-final of the 2015 AFC Asian Cup sees China meets the host nation, Australia.
National anthem of the People's Republic of China. And now, the national anthem of Australia.
Well, it's 6 years since Ange Postecoglou arrived in this city, anxious to answer his coaching critics. 2 titles later, he left a hero to fans of Brisbane Roar. Tonight he has the chance to provide another memorable night for the Sunshine State. And for nearly 50,000 here, plus many more watching at home, failure is simply not an option. China are only in Australia because the Socceroos qualified twice, once by finishing in the top 3 4 years ago, the second as hosts. So an extra team had to be found. They sneaked in. Tonight they aim to repay that favour by knocking the hosts out. Now the team news, they had doubts over both their captain, Zheng Shi, China, who's been suffering from a back complaint, and their defensive linchpin, Zheng Limpeng, who's been nursing a calf strain, but both are fit to play and start. Alain Perrin has made 4 changes, however, from the side that started against North Korea. He's added an extra midfielder in Wu Yi. Wu Lei, the Chinese Maradona so-called, is back. Jun Hang is added to the back line. Either he or Mei Fang will start at left back, and it'll be interesting to see where Ji Chang plays. He's nominally a right fullback, but is listed on the team sheet as a striker. Gao Lin, Zhang Zhipeng, Yu Hai and Hao Junmin all miss out. Our match referee tonight is Kim Jong-hyuk from South Korea, who took charge of the group games involving the UAE and Qatar, and Palestine and Jordan. Miller Jedinak back as skipper for the Socceroos. Zheng Qi, his opposite number for China. Now wholesale changes for Ange Postecoglou, 7 in total as all the big guns return. Captain Miller Jedinak heads the list after his 2-game absence with an ankle problem. Marc Bresciano gets his first start of the tournament after playing just 45 minutes in total off the bench, while the first-choice front 3 are reunited. Robbie Cruz, Matthew Leckie and Tim Cahill all included in a very attacking-looking lineup. Jason Davidson gets the nod over Aziz Bejic at left-back, while Alex Wilkinson is the replacement for the suspended Matt Sporanovic in defence. The others to drop out, Mark Milligan, Matt Mackay, Nathan Burns, Tommy Juric and James Troisi. They are all on the bench for the Roos. Ange Postecoglou, for whom 13 months of planning rests on tonight. He's coached just once against China at international level before. That was with the young Socceroos in AFC qualifying for the 2007 FIFA Under-20 World Cup, and Australia lost that day 1-0. Alain Perrin, not the first choice for the China coaching job, with many fans who would have preferred the Italian Marcello Lippi. But the Frenchman has guided Team Dragon through to the knockout phase for the first time in 11 years, and they're now 10 games unbeaten. So the moment of truth for Australia. 90 minutes to show they are headed in the right direction and keeping on the right track to deliver the nation a major trophy. Are China just the stooges tonight, Andy Harper, or can there be more than just nuisance value?
Well, they most certainly can, Simon. They've built a very good campaign. They're a very dangerous opponent tonight because they're confident and because they're relaxed. There's a big feeling in China that they may as well have already won the Asian Cup with 3 back-to-back wins. They're rare heights for Chinese football of late. Face has been saved, the #1 goal. And so from that relaxed position, the confidence of those 3 wins, they loom as a very dangerous opponent here tonight for Australia.
Much has been made of the conditions, Andy, in Brisbane in particular, both of the pitch and the weather. It's a bit cooler today. In fact, we've got rain, and the pitch doesn't look in too bad a condition, but if the rain continues, might it cut up?
Well, of course it might. We'll see how the pitch plays. It's going to be bumpy. I mean, it's no way it's going to recover in the time available to it. So we'll just watch the roll of the ball. The weather is way more accommodating. Punitive conditions here, certainly for the Socceroos' last start against South Korea.
Zheng Qi trying to thread one through for Ji Shang, who started on the left-hand side of midfield for China. We wondered where he might play. As per the group games, Zheng Chengdong starting at right fullback, where Ji Shang has played in the past. Trent Sainsbury hitting a long one, looking for Tim Cahill. And the flag was up against the Socceroos talisman.
He started in the offside position and never recovered his ground. From that ball over the top, just trying to turn China around early. There has to be, Simon, big question marks over Zhang Linpeng. Zheng Ji, particularly against, was, along with Japan, the most mobile and physically best prepared team in Australia in the competition. It's a huge physical test for them. But as with the Australian selection, Simon, Zalan Perrin has gone with experience, which you need in sudden death matches.
Turned around the corner by Leckie, but Bresciano not where he wanted him to be. Davidson chested down by Leckie. Starting on the left-hand side of the front three for Australia, with Robbie Cruz on the other flank. This is Alex Wilkinson seeing his first action at the Asian Cup. Big night for him as well, in place of the suspended Matt Sporanovic. At least he will know his central defensive partner, Trent Sainsbury, pretty well from their days at the Central Coast Mariners. Matt Ryan behind them, also formerly of that club. Franich can't get around Zhengxi. Throw in for China, off the shins of Franich, a former Brisbane Roar player, of course. Knows this stadium perhaps better than anyone. Bouncing ball, one in the air by Bresciano. Sainsbury to go down the line, but really finding Chun Hang. Now China will spread the play, and a chance for Zheng Chendong to race forward. Being roared on by plenty of Chinese support in the stands. Home games here in Brisbane, Andy, or at least they felt like home games for China in the group stage. Not quite that tonight, but they've still got plenty of vocal backing. It's going to be too deep for Jishang.
Well, we saw also with China's last group game against North Korea in Canberra, 18,000, fantastic gallery. Of course, the Chinese expat community is so big in Australia. Wherever they play, they're going to get a big crowd.
Now Ryan's going to have to be quick. Goodness me. Heart palpitations all around Brisbane Stadium, at least from those wearing green and gold. Just got it away in the nick of time. One thing you don't want to do in knockout football, indeed any game of football, is concede early. Hook shot on the turn by Wu Lei. He's more than capable of something a little bit different, but didn't quite get the purchase on that one. This is Miller Jedinak. Bit of room here in midfield for Massimo Luongo. Bresciano to spread it through Davidson. Infield is Leckie. Jedinak. Closed down quickly by Wu Lei. Wilkinson. Davidson. Well, it's just spun away from the fullback who plays for West Bromwich Albion, although not too much as of late. This regular club football back in October. Here's Franich on the other flank with time to measure the delivery. It's away by Mei Fang.
Well, that's not a good end product from Franich. She was beautifully found by Trent Sainsbury. Heap of time to measure the cross. Couldn't find the target.
See if he does better here. Dummy by Cruz, caught his teammate Luongo unawares. And it's up quickly towards Wu Lei, who's around the challenge of Alex Wilkinson. And he is quick, but so too is Trent Sainsbury, and needed to be. And unfortunately for Australia, Sainsbury has committed the foul, but it could have been worse.
It was a good recovery. by Trent Sainsbury. Rustiness from Alex Wilkinson. Sainsbury will believe he was impeded. They had Wilkinson on halfway, swinging and missing. Woolay away. He is such a lively customer. And good boisterous defending. And the ref is right to blow for the foul on Sainsbury and not before. Good refereeing. Australia stretched. Tremendous noise here, Brisbane Stadium.
It's the Chinese fans in full voice. Sun Ke, 3 goals in this AFC Asian Cup already to deliver. And it's met by Tim Cahill. Sun Ke again. Showed the line by Matthew Leckie, and the throw-in is Australia.
A terrific start, Simon, by China. They were showing all the confidence and lack of nerves that was to be expected given their status. And Australia just a little jittery. Now, they'll run the nerves out, will the Socceroos, and they'll be very mindful of not doing something silly in the meantime.
Leckie. Luongo. Back for Leckie. He's trying to tap it past the onrushing Mei Fang, and the two of them have collided. Yedenek's going to put it out so that they can have some attention. Purely accidental. Both players going for the ball.
The two captains having an exchange there. Here's Luongo into Leckie. Looked for the touch around. No free kick. Interestingly, Leckie banged his knee. Both players went down. Zheng Ji asked Mile Jedinak to kick the ball out. I don't think Jedinak was terribly happy, which was interesting. The two captains both have made their names for themselves as professional footballers in South London, with Charlton and Crystal Palace respectively. So professional respect shown, but I think that's where it finished, as Jedinak hoofed the ball out of the field.
It's Mei Fang who appears to have come off worse. Jedinak still deep in discussion, this time with his teammate Tim Cahill. Mei Fang looking none too clever at the moment. One of the many Chinese players who plays for Guangzhou Evergrande. Perrin, who on a double in French football with Olympique Lyon back in 2008, League and Cup. Prior to that, had a stint in England with Portsmouth, and then several rather unsuccessful spells with clubs in the Middle East. He's almost trying to reprove himself. Ange Postecoglou, I'm sure, will sympathise. He went through something similar, of course, a few years back. It's Wilkinson, who's had one warning of the trickery and speed of Woolay, who's pushing the header there. It's out towards Jishang on the left. He's, though, predominantly right-footed, cuts it back to Chun Hang, who's faced by Ivan Frenic, drills a low cross in. It's dealt with by Sainsbury and then subsequently by Luongo.
Good spell again from China, a really soft turnover by Mile Jedinak in the centre circle. Australia off balance and scrambling defensively. That's good pressure by Matt Leckie.
Well, talking of which, Wang Dale just put slightly off balance by the back pass there from Zheng Limpeng. China again quickly back in possession. Now they've turned it over. Davidson through for Cruz. Always crunched from behind by Chai Hui Kang, who is on a yellow going into this game, and of course, as we know by now, any subsequent yellow will mean the player will miss a potential semi-final. Chai's perhaps a little fortunate there, rather crude.
Australia's eagerness to get the restart. You saw the intent Robbie Cruz couldn't even get attention. Mark Bresciano said, we're off and away. And they don't want China to get a foothold at all. But the plan, well, that plan, to the extent that it exists, isn't working because this very buoyant Chinese team is up for it. Well and truly. And Australia just lacking surety in possession.
That one's gone over the whitewash before Junhang could reel it in. Davidson. Quite enough movement up ahead. So back it's funneled through Wilkinson and now Trent Sainsbury. A little bit of space between the lines for Matt Leckie. Outside him is Franich. Cross blocked by Junhang.
The best part of Australia's game in possession so far has been the passing of Trent Sainsbury. That's at least 2, possibly 3, where he's hit a beautifully weighted, penetrating pass to release a player. Thereafter, it's not working for the Socceroos.
Junhang appealing for the foul, which wasn't forthcoming, and then a slip by Miller Yedinak, and they're on to it again, China. He is so slippery, isn't he? Wu Lei. Any little error, and they're going to be punished, you sense, tonight, Australia.
Well, they're not little errors so far, both from the skipper. Question marks about his physical preparedness, of course. That ankle injury has been the talking point since the Kuwait game. He's moving well enough, Miller Yedinak, but his last 2 possessions have been very problematic for the Socceroos.
Leckie.
How long did that take for Matt Leckie to find his feet? That's the first indication on the playing surface here. It's like running on ice sometimes.
It's going to play. There are 1 or 2 other areas of the park that are just starting to cut up slightly.
There's so much talk about the pitch. One of the question marks over the Socceroos is if it's going to be too much of a default position for them, that we can't settle, we can't play. And they've got to get that out of their system. If it exists at all, that's surely a nudge in the back. Apparently not.
Nothing doing.
But that's a high foot.
Kale looked as though he was clearly impeded by Mei Fang. Sainsbury. Franich. Rather tentative starts made by the Socceroos. Just feeling their way into the contest, and again, look how lively Wu Lei is. So eager to pounce on any possible opening. Yedinak. Waking crossfield ball, and Davidson is onto it. Needed a sure first touch. It wasn't quite what he wanted, and then he's penalised.
Not quite what the ref says a foul there. It was a more than adequate first touch by Jason Davidson, brilliantly found by Yedinak. Now, that's not a foul. I mean, that's shoulder to shoulder. Well done, Jason Davidson. That's very difficult at full speed.
It's the old-fashioned shoulder punch.
There's nothing in that. So just under par at the moment, the referee.
Yedinak. Cruz, if he could have brought that down, Australia might have had a decent chance there. Just on the odd occasion, Andy, Australia have found a little bit of space between the lines.
Well, they'll believe that as the game goes on, they'll find more and more space. But negotiating this opening stanza, 72% of the ball. The more they can get the touches and get settled, the quicker they'll get these early nerves out of their system. China have started excellent, boisterous, energetic, full of confidence, and another sucker pass from Miller Yedinak.
Chang Kui Kang still in the ball, and away races Wu Lei around Yedinak. He's driven wide, and Wilkinson manages to get his body in the way. Oh, goodness me. No prizes for guessing where the danger is coming from for Australia. The number 7, Wu Lei, the Chinese Maradona, they call him.
Recovery from Wilkinson. Cheap, very dangerous turnovers right in the centre of the field, costing Australia early.
It was Chai Hui Kang who set up that chance. He's down on the turf for the moment. Stocky midfielder whose job is to break up the play. That's exactly what he did on halfway. He set up that chance for Wu Lei, which has produced this corner. Sun Ke to swing it in. There is a header at the far post by that man, Ji Shang. A real cause for alarm for Matt Ryan, an early release, and Lucky's trying to use his pace to get on to the end of it. And the distribution from Wang Dalei is not the best. Here's Bresciano. And straight into Sun Ke, back with Davidson, who crosses towards Kale, who does have a prodigious leap, as we know. But he's flagged for offside again.
Took a knock as well. Bresciano just couldn't break the shackles to keep the attack going forward. Brilliant early release from Matty Ryan, and Leckie forced the pressure on Wang Dalei. And there's Timmy Carl straying again to the offside position.
Timmy Cale looking to score against what would be the 23rd different country during his long and illustrious Socceroos career. 80th cap tonight, 37 goals. That's a strong run. It's a clear foul by Miller Jedinak. He's going to go to the book for that. Unfortunately, he's not one of those carrying the yellow cards.
He's doing it a bit tough, the skipper, at the moment. This is a desperate hack. More pressure for Australia to withstand.
Ji Shang to put the ball in. Low this time. Evaded Cale initially. Spooned it up towards halfway. Throw in for China, who look full of confidence. Not bad for a team that is only here, really, as a lucky loser. Zhang Chendong will continue to run forward, and nobody's gone with him. Zhang Chendong with a low delivery, and it's behind. And Australia have a goal kick. Ji Shang with the opportunity. Nobody went with the fullback.
It's a brilliant opportunity, again created by China.
Actually took it off the toe of his own teammate, didn't he, Ji Shang? 20 minutes played.
Zhang Chendong just showing how dynamic he is as an overlapping fullback, the number 17, made great ground.
What a job Alan Perrin has done. He's issuing instructions via the translator. You can see the steady drizzle in the background. Ryan out to the edge of his area. And Jedinak again, just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Free kick's gone Australia's way. Miller Jedinak just threw his hands up as if to say, well, I think I might have committed a foul there. Don't book me again, please.
That's quizzical.
Yeah. Jedinak again. Not the brightest of starts for the skipper. Cruz. Australia yet to really find their rhythm. Leckie, that's a better layoff. Cruz, no foul. Cruz, outstretched arms. Andy Harper too.
Well, he's being pretty loose with the truth, the ref at the moment. That's been a foul all tournament, hasn't it? Anyway. One man decides, and he said no. Off you go.
Luongo. Not seen a lot of him as yet, nor this man, Bresciano. China very compact again.
And you see China pressing onto the player who's receiving the ball. It's another good pass from Sainsbury, releasing the attack.
Here's Cruz. Again, they're quickly across in numbers, this time Ji Shang. Australia get a corner.
And they're feeding off the errant first touch. They've cut out some pretty poor passing options as well, China. Chai Hui Kang in particular, releasing the ever-dangerous Wu Lei, the number 7. But they're sweating on Australia, persisting with their attempts to keep possession. And China are nibbling away and anticipating an errant first touch and swinging into a swift counter-attack on the back of it.
Well, there's plenty of aerial threat in there. Kale, of course, Jedinak too. Wilkinson's up there. It's a low delivery, flicked on by Leckie. Scramble clear by Shunhang. Drilled it back in low by Bresciano. Squirts out towards Franich. And the decision is a goal kick.
Australia not able to put pressure on China's defence from the set piece.
Franich just misjudged that slightly, but fortunately for him, came off the back of Ji Shang. Davidson. Leckie, clever. He's got goal side of Zhang Chendong. Only briefly. Good recovery by the fullback. Davidson again. And this time the whistle does go. How about you? That looked a bit softer than some of the others.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised. Maybe it's not a night to be surprised. See if Bresciano can deliver something more meaningful on this occasion. Australia have to start making the Chinese players individually start second-guessing themselves. Start chipping away at the Chinese confidence.
See if Bresciano can get the delivery right. He goes deep towards Jedinak, who met it on the fall, but could only find the side netting courtesy of a deflection. Another corner for the Australians.
That's as good as. And it makes them reposition, it makes them reassess. And it pegs the otherwise resistant Chinese defence back.
Bresciano's had a couple of practice goes from both corner and free kick. Just a slight delay before normal service can be resumed. Zhang Wenpeng and Miller Jedinak exchanging a word or two and a handshake. Whole cluster of bodies around the penalty spot. The outswinger from Bresciano. Invades everyone. Recycled by Jedinak via Davidson here. Delivery too straight. And Sainsbury with a miscue. Bresciano to set it up. Now Cruz. This looks better. Cahill throws his body at it. Away by Zhang Limpeng. Back in by Bresciano. And Zhang Limpeng's there again.
Desperate defending. Australia pushing, trying to keep the momentum going. Ball bouncing. First time touches.
No wonder they were so desperate, China, to have Zhang Limpeng fit and available today. He is probably their best defender, best organiser as well. Very outgoing character. There he is on the ball here. Flicked on by Zheng Changdong. Bresciano. Ji-Shank, good ball, but offside. Wu Lei. Trent Sainsbury wasn't to know that and was eager to keep pace with him.
He was just offside. It's a good call.
I'm not sure whether defender near side was playing him on. Anyhow. Jedinak had a look and wasn't an awful lot on. Franic finds it infield. Leckie, chance here! Good save, Wang Dale. And Matthew Leckie's wait for a goal goes on, but Australia's best chance.
Yeah. And a beautiful little shift of the weight to open up the avenue to goal. And he gets plenty of power behind that, does Matt Leckie. Keeper first called into action for China and does well. Wang Dale.
Socceroos starting to apply just a little bit of pressure. Bresciano to the near post. Leckie threw himself at the ball. Fang gets it upfield towards the dangerous Wu Lei, who's trying to use his body to shield the ball away from Davidson. Davidson's too good.
Well done, Jason Davidson. That was a potentially very sticky one. Impressive father-son double act this, Simon. The last time Australia played China in Brisbane, Jason's father Alan played for the Socceroos in the 3-0 win.
Back in 1985.
That's the one.
Oh, that was an awkward one for Franic, and now he's out of position. And China can look to launch the counter through Ji-Shank here. Wu Lei was central. The ball towards Sun Ke on the right was not a particularly good one.
Wasn't that good? Good opportunity for China, who started in a blistering fashion. I think the question now that's asked of them is, how long can they keep that sort of intensity up?
Leckie stung the palms of Wang Dale some moments ago. Jedinak. A little bit too deep for Franic, who was doing a bit of catching practice. He had a bit of work in that regard some minutes ago.
That's a beautiful shift of the body weight. Made great connection, Matt Leckie.
He's only scored the once for his country, Matthew Leckie. That was 13 months ago against Canada in a 3-0 friendly win. And you do get the sense, once he scores one, the floodgates might just open.
Well, this time, 30-odd years ago, Simon, Australia were up by 2-0 against China at this stadium in front of 4,500 fans, where the pitch that day was described as bumpy and difficult to play on. The more things change, the more things stay the same.
Sainsbury finding the gap. Franic. Cruz is marked. Back it comes instead through Luongo. Everybody behind the ball for China. Look to try and steal it and launch a counter with speed. Bresciano just fending off the attentions of Wu Yi. This is Leckie.
Well, he's settled well, Matt Leckie. Been energetic from the start, but he's really started to settle. Taken the lead. The young guys, Sainsbury and Leckie, the first to settle into the sort of football that Postecoglou wants. Just get through this first period of the game and start bringing more of their talent into play. Luongo in particular, Robbie Cruz.
Yedenak's not quite found his range, has he, so far tonight? Nodded forward by Zhang Chendong. Pushing by Wu Yi. Stolen in midfield by the robust Chai Hui Kang. A bit of the Gennaro Gattuso's about him, hasn't he? Hui Kang, he's that sort of build and aggressive sort of defensive midfielder.
Well, the whole team, very welcome to say, has got a very aggressive mindset.
There he is again, Hui Kang.
Cutting off brilliantly.
The water carrier, as they used to call it. Doing a very effective job at the moment. One of the many products from the Genbo Academy. Has produced so many international players for Team Dragon. Sainsbury invited to carry it forward. French whips it in. A bit of pace towards Cahill. Luongo. All out towards Cruz. Just wouldn't stick. He's been impressive at this Asian Cup, Robbie Cruz. Welcome return to both form and fitness, of course, after his long layoff. This is the 11th time these two nations have met. The ledger is almost even. 5 wins for Australia, 1 draw. 4 Chinese wins. China haven't lost any of the last 3. Here's Cruz inside the penalty area. Zheng Qi, Chinese captain. Stolen away from him by Luongo. Slightly in advance of Cruz, not a bad delivery. Headed clear by Zhang Linpeng. Sainsbury.
Outstanding from Trent Sainsbury again.
Free kick Australia.
Australian fans of the Mariners, watched him a lot, will know how cool he is as a customer. He's brought that ball down brilliantly, won the free kick. Great composure to try and find Luongo, for whom there was nothing doing. So the foul and the advantage decided wasn't coming the way of the Socceroos, who will get the free kick now.
They've had a number of set-piece chances. Just need to get that delivery right. Mark Brasciano, more than capable. Clips it in, and there's the header just over the top from Trent Sainsbury. Won the free kick and very nearly rounded off the move with the opening goal. Well, he stole away from his marker too.
Truth be told, this has to hit the target, if not the back of the net. It's close. It's really close.
Of anguish on the Australian bench. After that rather nervous start, Andy, Australia found a little bit of rhythm.
Well, it was the important, potentially most dangerous part of the game when you're looking at the 90 minutes. But now, of course, China have established themselves in the game, and Australia have been warned. Australia have to now prepare for the next phase of the contest and exert some sort of dominance. So they've settled in possession a bit better. They're still finding the going difficult. Getting the rhythm going that they're after is tough. And those passes aren't helping, but it's worked on this occasion for the Socceroos.
I think Cruz's intention there was to find Luongo, but lucky was in the way.
But they continue in that middle part of the field. China to sweat on the first touch of the Socceroos, and 2s and 3s they then look to dispossess. It's a real battle of nerves and will at the moment. The Socceroos determined to play the game their way. China determined to stare down that threat and anticipate an error and pounce on the back of it.
It's well dug out by Jason Davidson. Earns a throw-in off Zheng Changdong. Luongo trying to turn away from self-same player. Kale links up with Lecky. Now Jedinak. Davidson. Trying to muscle his way through. Sainsbury can't get there ahead of Roulet. Here he goes again. Matthew Lecky is equally as quick, however.
Well, Lecky's...
And Ange Postecoglou is saying to the referee, Roulet took a dive there. And Jedinak's now exchanging words with the Chinese number 7.
Matthew Lecky's appetite for this opportunity tonight is something to see. He is just ripping all over the place, trying to spark his team and defend the cause. Maybe the former Nathan Burns in that South Korea game has provided some extra spark for Matthew Lecky.
Now it's broken down for China on their own defensive third. Here's Bresciano. Well won by Zheng Qi. Steered back by his opposite number in terms of the captaincy, Jedinak towards Ryan, whose distribution is sound towards Davidson. Australia back on the attack through Matthew Lecky. Lecky will chip it in. Far post, Cahill. That's going to be a corner.
Well defended. When you know Timmy Cahill is there or thereabouts, and China will have, well, they already know him, of course, and done enormous homework on him. It's brilliant positioning from Ren Hang. He held his ground magnificently, and his radar was alert to the position of Tim Cahill. He's beaten better than Rang from that sort of situation for many years. Outstanding defending.
And it has to be against a player that has such spring in those boots. Another set piece for Australia. Can they make one of these pay? Bresciano to fire it in towards Alex Wilkinson. It's well defended this time by Zhang Linpeng. It's going to be another corner. Pressure building.
Well, good work of Anfang Shunket, doing a good job to nullify the crossing threat, but more pressure to come from the set piece, from which China have defended really well. Zhang Linpeng, Ren Hang, just been brilliant in the centre of defence. The fullbacks have been combative as well.
Again, the cluster of players around the penalty spots. Wait for the signal to break. Bresciano drills it in. Cahill goes for it, beaten by Zhang Linpeng. Recycled by Frenich. Diagonal ball from Davidson. Pinpoint in accuracy. Now for Luongo, top of the box. Shot or cross, whatever. Harmless from a Chinese point of view.
Luongo trying to get involved, trying to make an impact. It was a low percentage option, but at least he'll feel he's made some sort of contribution. When Frangic comes and doesn't collect in the contest.
Bresciano scrapping for the ball. That's the decision. In fact, I think he said it's a throw-in, the referee. Yeah. Two eager beavers going for the ball there. China thought they should have had the decision. There might have been a bit of holding from Sainsbury initially. And Bresciano wasn't going to be thrown off key. The differential between the total number of passes, 266 to 72 in Australia's favour. Yedenak's making a long-bursting run forward, but the ball goes behind him from Trent Sainsbury, whose passing otherwise has been excellent.
It's his first error. We're entitled to one.
Three minutes to go before the break. China made a strong start. They've been pushed back by the Australians. Just the one real moment of concern, maybe two. Matthew Leckie's blast, which was well beaten away by Wang Dale. And Sainsbury stole away from his marker to head just over from one of several Australian corners.
See how now China, no hurry to restart. They're feeling under the pump. Looking for the free kick option, but it's not coming, so that'll be a little bit more time where they can suck in some big ones. Of course, this will frustrate Postecoglou because this is exactly what he doesn't want the opponents to be able to do, stop the match. He doesn't want them to be able to breathe.
This is Zhengxi. Zheng on the left. Now for Ji Shang. Far too much boot behind that one. It's been a useful inclusion on that left-hand side.
Well, this is a very, comparatively, Simon, a very young China team. Exception of skipper Zhengxi. Playing with all the verve of young guys.
Zhengxi, the only player in the Chinese squad over the age of 28. So there's a bright future, potentially, for the Chinese national team. Matthew Leckie taking a knock there from Sun Ke. Slow in letting the referee know that he was caught as well. Conversation still ongoing. Luongo. Davidson trying to give him an option. Luongo might not need one. Still going.
There's tremendous balance, Mas Luongo. The big area of improvement for Australia will come. Luongo and Bresciano can get their share of the ball. It's been tactically the glaring omission so far. Yedenak's got to be careful.
Indeed he has. As we move into 1 minute of stoppage time. Into the handshake. I'm not sure it's been altogether friendly, that relationship, Woolay and Yedenak in this first half. A clear foul. The Socceroos skipper on a yellow. Just has to mind his step. Perrin instructing his defender Zhang Linpeng to go back to his own goalkeeper. Clearly happy with the situation as half-time looms. Even Chinese defenders understand the French cry of keeper. Although he does interestingly use Li Tia, you might remember, the former Everton player, as both his assistant and translator. He's also good friends with Tim Cahill, who's not had too many chances in that first half, just one opportunity at the far post. And Australia have recovered from a slow start. Matthew Leckie has forced the one real save of note out of Wang Dale. Cahill, as we said, had that one opportunity in the air. Trent Sainsbury, likewise, from one of many Australian set pieces. But China will feel relatively pleased, I'm sure, to go in goalless at the break. And in Woolay, they have a player can be a danger to any defence. But at the interval in Brisbane, it's goalless. China 0, Australia 0. Welcome back to Brisbane, where all the stats bar one favour the host nation. 77% possession of the ball for Australia. More than 3 times as many passes as Alan Perrin's China. But they're still to find a way through. The tournament's top goal scorers with 8. By their standards, at this 2015 AFC Asian Cup, this is a veritable drought. They've now gone 155 minutes without scoring a goal since Tommy Juric netted the 4th against Oman back on match day 2. Change for China at half-time. Mei Fang, who did suffer from a knock towards the end of that first period. Really got a corky. He is off. And on in his stead, Zhang Zhipeng, who's seen plenty of action already at this Asian Cup, so a good replacement to have. On the left-hand side of that Chinese back line, which has been asked a few questions, but has mainly been able to find the answers. They are a fit team. They won't wilt. Ange Postecoglou hoping his team can exert their extra quality onto this game as China get us back underway in the predominantly white kit. Having made that first change of the game, Zhang Zhipeng on for Mei Fang. I'm sure the message, Andy Harper, from Ange Postecoglou for his Australian team was just more of the same, be patient.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right, Simon. Going's a little bit difficult. If we didn't know quite how up for it China were going to be, then we certainly got a good taste. And we've come through unscathed, and we started to turn the screws, and we'll have more of that, please, says Ange Postecoglou. And then the question whether he walked around the room and had anything to say to individuals. Robbie Cruz hasn't really figured. Bresciano's tried but hasn't had an impact. Luongo's drifted in and out, more out than in. It's really only been Leckie at the front and Trent Sainsbury from the back who've been a consistent. Jason Davidson's done well also.
Here is Robbie Cruz. Let's see if he can change that as he fires one in. It's off beam, but positive nonetheless. And again, fed by Trent Sainsbury, carrying the ball forward.
If he's going to have a shot, you just wonder when it's on his right and more preferred why he doesn't shoot in the first instance. Nevertheless, it's a positive effort. Alan Perrin, for his side of things, would be very happy with his team's output in that first half. Really encouraging them to be cautious, strong in the mind. They've been very alert to the threat. China have set up very well, conceded territory and didn't have much of the ball, but they were very difficult to break down.
Well, who's going to blink first? We had a very tight game in Melbourne earlier on today, which finished goalless after 90 minutes, eventually won by South Korea in extra time. Australia don't want to go that far. Massimo Luongo with a more purposeful run has earned his team a corner.
Well, they're making something happen down that inside right position for Luongo. Very difficult to bump off the ball. And as the ball bumped around on the pitch, he couldn't quite get the touch he wanted. The corner's not a bad outcome when you consider those circumstances.
Well, they've had so many of these set-piece situations, Australia. Haven't yet been able to find a way through. Is this the moment? Bresciano, similar sort of delivery. Kale went for it, couldn't reach it. Back in by Franich. And Kale going for the spectacular. What about that? What about that? Timmy Kale, he is an absolute star. And in the really big games, you need your really big players. And that is a really big goal. And something very spectacular. Just brilliant.
Well, what a brilliant start to the second half for Australia. It's a wicked, wicked corner. And Kale did the damage. Look at that, interesting. Cale's challengers knocked out his immediate, the marker who was after him, and that left the space. Well, the space might have been there still, and it might have been available, but you just cue brilliance and opportunism at that point from Super Timmy Cale. He hit it perfectly, and he backed himself. 35 years of work and experience, and a lot of success. And he harnessed it all inside the 6-yard box of China. And he goes the bicycleta for 1-0 Australia.
Well, he scored one of the goals of the World Cup in Brazil, and he's just delivered one very, very special goal at the Asian Cup in Australia. Meantime, China have a problem, and it doesn't look particularly good.
Zheng Jie, the captain, who stood and jumped
Collided
bravely.
with his own player, Zheng Limpeng.
He got hammered as Timmy Cale came in, and that was the space that was available. As the ball bounced back in to the danger zone, China without their skipper at that moment, who was on sentry duty with Timmy Cale. And he did well enough to repel the first effort with some brave captain-like defending. But he was out for the count as the ball came back in. And from that point on, Timmy Cale flicked the switch.
When it comes to the crunch, he is simply the best of the bunch. What a goal. And China have got a big problem. A goal down without their captain just for the moment.
And huge relief around the stadium for the home fans. And the Chinese fans who gathered in significant numbers will cheer their team on because they've been great competitors for the opening 50 minutes.
Zheng Jie is back on. And they need him now, China. The mini goal drought for the top scorers in the AFC Asian Cup is over. 2 hours and 40 minutes they've been waiting. Another decision goes Australia's way. Sainsbury. Perrin just putting his jacket on to protect him from the rain. He might have to put his thinking cap on as well, Andy.
Well, the pattern of the game, you wouldn't suspect, Simon, is going to change much. There's Zheng Jie down for the count. It was a heavy clash. That is.
What about the technique from Tim Cale?
Sheer brilliance from Timmy Cale. And look at the response of the Australian teams. They know how significant that icebreaker is.
This is a strong run from the fullback, Cheng Changdong. Work it back through Che Hu Kang. Now on the left is the substitute, Jiang Zhipeng. Need to come out and play a bit, China. Lecky gets there ahead of Hui Kang. That might suit the Socceroos. Davidson down the line, Cruz, Cale calling for it in the centre. Cruz lays it off. Davidson with time. And it's well won by Ren Hang. Now China try and switch defence into attack. Game on now. Wu Lei trying to get in there ahead of Trent Sainsbury. Good defending. Oh, heavy touch by Wu Yi, and Matthew Leckie races away. He's got pace, we know that. Oh, and he's collected. Professional foul by Zheng Limpeng, who goes into the book. Wasn't going to allow Matthew Leckie to get away from him by fair means or foul.
These are the situations that Matthew Leckie loves. He didn't look for the free kick, but he got closer than he needed to. If Matthew Leckie keeps on that trajectory, then Peng's not going to keep up with him. But the way the field opened up and Matthew Leckie seeing the green grass in front of him, and he just puts the foot down, and there's not many players who are going to be able to keep up with him. And just as he slowed down to beat the defender clinically, Lim Peng committed the foul and properly receives the yellow card.
Good field position this for Mark Bresciano, who patiently awaits the referee's whistle. Wang Dalei frantically trying to get the wall set. Second goal now could be fatal for China. Jedinak being spoken to by the Korean official, not for the first time. Cahill breaks from the wall. And it's going to be Bresciano who got too much elevation. Appeals for hands against Davidson. High on, says the referee.
They look for Australia and pushing and forcing the errors and then picking the ball up inside China's half. This is going to be a predictable pattern.
Luongo.
Australia will need to maximise the advantage they're going to earn for themselves out of this, because we've seen how much potential China have on the counter-attack. Equally, however, there will be the time in the game where China have to push forward and start to play and looking to chase the game and level the score.
Delightful pirouette from Trent Sainsbury. A cruise in space here. Cahill at the near post. And he just put a bit too much on it, Robbie Cruz. Still alive for Davidson, far side. Lovely layoff from Leckie. Socceroo started to play here. Ferried infield for Bresciano. Quite as much pressure on the ball from China as there was in the first half. Jedinak. Sainsbury. The present danger of Wu Lei, just reminding him he's still around.
So he is just such a lively customer. It's really edge of the seat stuff when Wu Lei is around. It's a poor turnover from Wilkinson.
Toe poke forward towards Chen Changdong. And they could be in here, China. Sun Ke. And Shea Hui Kang challenging for it. And the blast from the substitutes, Zhang Zhipeng. It's way off beat.
And it was a poor option, really. It shows how much the pendulum has swung away from China. Didn't have the composure to, or the belief in his teammates to bring the ball down and reset the attack. A speculative shot from distance has all the hallmarks of a team that already doesn't have a lot of ideas on how to get out of this. They're under the pump, China.
There's room for Luongo to spread the play again. First time ball into the box, and it's beaten away by the Chinese, but for how long? And then Bresciano on the follow-up. Again, he puts it into the crowd.
Got his shooting boots on tonight, Mark Bresciano. Luongo spread the ball brilliantly, and Robbie Cruz just couldn't get his feet in the right sequence. Ball zinging across the left flank. Good pressure again from the Socceroos. Dalei looking to get things going quick, smart. Good stuff from China's goalkeeper.
Well, the game is better for the goal because the contest of cat and mouse is over. Shea Hui Kang. Zhang Zhipeng. Hui Kang again. Inside was Wu Yi. Now carrying it forward is Zhang Limpeng, and he fires on goal, and Ryan is forced to parry. Well, it was a long way out. Seemed to go down a trifle late, Matt Ryan. Got a good, strong right hand to it. China denied. Rare shot on target for Alan Perrin's team. Australia going to make a change shortly. Give you news on that in a moment. Meantime, that should be easier for Ryan. A quick release forward towards Tim Cahill. Can't wrap the boot around it and link up with Lackey. Trying to go direct. It's a bit too straight for Wu Lei. How about Zheng Limpeng just injecting himself into the attack?
Well, he's a personality player, isn't he? And that shot showed plenty of belief and great leadership from the player who's come in with a significant injury cloud over his head. He hasn't trained since the North Korea game, but you wouldn't know it watching him. Defended excellently today and might have had a goal for himself there. Some good work at full stretch from Matt Ryan to deny him.
Forward by Sainsbury, whose radar's completely on again. Cruz lays it off for Cahill. They're streaming forward here. Bresciano! Should have been 2-0. Could have been game over.
Well, it's simply sumptuous football, and this is just the tail end of it. Beautiful from Cahill, beautiful from Lecky, less than beautiful from Mark Bresciano. But on the end of a rasping move. Great stuff from the Socceroos, and indeed that is the last contribution of Mark Bresciano, who receives a standing ovation from the Australian fans here in Brisbane.
Would have been even better had he netted the second goal. Maybe James Troisi can provide, as he did on match day 1, of course, against Kuwait in stoppage time. China struggling to get out of their own defensive third at the moment. Here's the goal scorer, Cahill. In fact, it's Luongo. My mistake. It looks a bit like Tim Cahill. And plays a bit like him too at times. Jedinak. Troisi's first touch. Lecky. Troisi. Clever run from Cruz. Flicked on. Tim Cahill inside the box again. On the turn. Cahill! And Wang Dale just did enough.
Great save. Keeps his team in the tournament. Nicely found was Cahill by Robbie Cruz. And from a midfielder by trade, Timmy Cahill plays striker by instinct. It's almost perfect striker's play, the shot on the turn.
Luongo's corner. And it pops again for Massimo Luongo. Right in the game now, a bit quiet in the first half. Lecky takes it away from Chengzhou. The cross from Luongo, they're queuing up again. Troisi didn't quite get hold of it.
Robbie Cruz didn't anticipate. He might have got there, Cruz. Troisi doesn't connect. Wang Dale, the keeper, was pretty confident the ball was going to swing wide. Robbie Cruz just back on his heels. Maybe it was always too far away from him. And this is that last effort from Timmy Cahill. You know, it's reasonably well defended by Zhang Chengdong.
Well, he has to generate the power, doesn't he? Because the ball's going backwards. Incredible. Cruz is going to earn a corner off Ren Hang. Wang Dale has got plenty to say.
Well, you hope it's encouraging, because the men in front of him are defending bravely, and they're being put across the rack at the moment. Australia can't find that killer punch. They've come close.
Luongo's corner, that's at the near post. Good save by Wang Dale. Matthew Lecky got the initial effort on target, and Wang Dale has saved his team a couple of times now.
And it was Chengdong again, just anticipating.
Deeper this time from Luongo. Spooned up in the air by Zhang Zhipeng. Eventually, China hook it clear. They're looking just a little bit rattled and ragged at the moment.
The message will be the same from Alain Perrin. This is to be expected. We knew this team in green and gold would play this way against us. Nothing is changing. You stick to your job. And so far they're doing as well as can be expected. And whilst the score just stays at 1, you cannot rule out China. And Australia will continue to press for this killer punch.
Lecky giving chase. Solid challenge from Cheng Dong, and it comes Cahill! Timmy Cahill again! Australia surely heading for the semi-finals of the Asian Cup. He's just unstoppable.
Well, surely now the Great Wall of China has been broken. Matthew Lecky outstanding. He does the grunt work to win possession. And you just see in slow motion as that ball swings over from the left that Tim Cahill has imagined this 1,000 times before. And he's finished it almost as many times before. And it's as good as you ever see in world football. He is quite simply lethal. It's an incredible finish. Second for the night for Timmy Cahill. It's superhuman from Super Tim.
He is, in the nicest possible sense, a freak. Because he's still a long way out there. He has to get both power, of course there was a fair bit on the cross, but the precision. Wang Dalei left clutching thin air. Perfect.
Well, this is going to sound easy to say, but I'm going to say it on behalf of the tens of thousands of people who've been watching Tim Cahill play for years. You had a feeling before he made contact that that was going to be a goal. You just saw the way he was shaping up. He eats that stuff for breakfast, along apparently with 8 Weet-Bix at a time.
Now what have China got left? They've been battered into submission.
Well, they've been
in the second half.
They've been excellent, given the quality of the opposition. It's a top cross from Alan Davidson, Jason Davidson. 30 years separating father and son, and on course for a similar outcome.
Here they come again, but they've been penalised. High foot, I think, against Luongo. Round of applause from the coach for his charges. The only good news for China, there's still just under 25 minutes to go. There's plenty of time. Outside the opening skirmishes, they've not really looked likely. Let's see if that changes. There's perhaps a chance as they try and get alongside of Alex Wilkinson. Sung Kerr, target 3 times already at this Asian Cup.
Typically of Alex Wilkinson, not much has been said. We had the slip up, if you recall, early in the first half on halfway, and there was a very nervous little period thereafter for Australia. But since, he's been there to cover for errors of teammates and standing his ground in and around the penalty area, sticking a toe in, winning a tackle here and there, as he was on that last defensive play by the Socceroos. More work to do now.
Zhang Chendong on the right. China have got plenty forward now. They have to. Headed off of the pass by Robbie Cruz.
He's been so impressive tonight. Zhang Chendong has not done badly by the comparison at all. And he's got plenty of teammates in that discussion also.
Here's Sung Kerr. Trying to get one back. It might be a really interesting finale here. Australia, meantime, are readying Nathan Burns near touchline. He'll be on shortly.
Which you'd imagine is a reward for his very good performance against South Korea. A very welcome sight. The re-emergence of Nathan Burns as an international player for Australia.
This time challenged by Franich, gives China the free kick and Australia the chance to make that change. And it's going to be Matthew Lackey who's been one of the standouts.
Yeah, really a super game. A little bit sore with his left leg. The beautiful cross from Davidson, the beautiful header from Tim Cahill. But the grunt work done by Matt Leckie to force the turnover. He's had such an appetite tonight.
Good layoff by Sun Ke. Here's a chance. Wu Lei just couldn't reel it in at the crucial moment. He's going at a fair old lick, in fairness to the Chinese striker.
The danger remains ever present for Australia. 2-goal lead is comfortable to a point. But an error, a slip, a referee decision, a moment of magic from Wu Lei, perhaps.
The energy from Sun Ke. Good distribution from Ryan. Also by Davidson. China have got good field position here. Zhang Peng. It's had one effort on goal. Oh, and it's a good save by Matt Ryan. And the follow-up by Wu Lei goes into the grateful arms of the Australian goalkeeper. And that was the first real cause for alarm, though, for the Socceroos.
Yeah, and again, beautifully found. Well saved by Matt Ryan, and then reacted to his own work to tidy up completely. But such an impressive little comeback this from China. In the face of such overwhelming possession stats for Australia, many other opponents would have wilted by now. And when the second goal went in, that might have been the death knell for the cause. But they come again, China, Team Dragon, maybe breathing some fire yet.
Just slightly behind Zhengxi. Might have a go here, Zhengxi. Good riposte from Alan Perrin's team.
Yeah, the skipper, who was close to knock cold from the Timmy Cahill first goal, has re-emerged and leading the team. And they've had a couple of good sights at goal. Here's the first one. Great stuff, Matt Ryan. Look how quick he is to his feet, then cool as a cucumber. And Wu Lei couldn't finish with the follow-up.
Now China have made a change. Sun Ke has been replaced by Yu Hai. The midfield comes striker from Guizhou Renhe. Had a little spell in Holland with Vitesse Arnhem a few years back. He's featured heavily throughout the group stage. Of course, scored the winner against Saudi Arabia match day 1 from that free kick. Now Burns trying to dig it out. Troisi. After that little flurry from China, Australia just trying to steady things down. No need to go chasing the game. 2-goal cushion. Semi-final against either Japan or the UAE, awaiting the winners in Newcastle. Davidson looking for Cahill again on a hat-trick, of course. Good drop for Burns. Well won in the air by Ren Hang. Wilkinson. Yedinak. Troisi. Burns. Nice little piece of acceleration.
Yeah.
He was held back by Zhang Linpeng.
He's terrific in that tight first 2 or 3 metres. He won the space and the advantage brilliantly there, Nathan Burns.
Subject, of course, of transfer interest from China. In the shape of Shanghai Shenhua. Warriors stretching for that ball. big price tag on his head, though, apparently.
Well, the bid for Tommy Urich has certainly set the bar, hasn't it?
Oh, that's loose from Zhang Jinpeng. And Robbie Cruz decided to go for goal from an awful long way out, and that's forced the turnover. Could be costly for Australia. Zhang Chendong took a deflection, corner.
Well, he doesn't stop, really. Zhang Chendong. Amazing work up and down the right flank. Amazing
work in
turn
the stands either.
Amazing work by the local Chinese community. They're full of voice still.
They'll make it an interesting last quarter of an hour here in Brisbane. It's headed on at the near post by Wu Yi. Nobody following up at the far.
Well, it was Nathan Burns who's got a flea in his ear at the moment. Firstly from Timmy Carl, then Matt Ryan. Burns beaten on the edge of that 6-yard box.
Socceroos a tick over a quarter of an hour away from the last 4, which many people felt was the bare minimum requirements ahead of this Asian Cup. Cruz. Davidson.
Sloppy.
Dug out well by Zhang Chendong. Racing forward is Yu Hai. Wu Lei in the middle. Still he goes on. Tees it up. And the shot from Wu Yi is charged down, and the field is very stretched now. China have to commit numbers forward. Shifted along the back line by Trent Sainsbury. Troisi. Wilkinson. Almost saying to China, if you want the ball, come and get it.
We'll try to drag them out. Australia will be enjoying just a little bit of a rest as well. They play the high tempo game and they try to dominate the ball, and they've done both of those things very well. But there's sloppy little turnovers which continue to keep China in the game.
Wilkinson challenging and winning the ball in the air. Drops for Troisi. Only Kale at the moment inside the Chinese half of the field. It's better distribution from the Chinese goalkeeper. 1 or 2 errant passes earlier on. This is Yu Hai looking to attack Jason Davidson, who recovered well to make the block.
Great defending. Well, they're not good team defending from Australia in the initial instance. Timmy Carl was working hard, but he was working solo up front. And they picked him off, did China, and worked their way upfield. And then it required an excellent bit of work from Jason Davidson to turn the danger away.
Franich is going to have to give chase. Ryan to clear his lines. Turned by Ren Hang, but on at the air by Sainsbury and by Shea Hui Kang. Now out for Burns. Mwongo. Robbie Cruz showing. Run inside from Troisi was not tracked at all. And the Chinese midfielders managed to steal possession. Now they might be on for a counter of their own. This is Wu Lei. Outside him, Zhang Chendong. Back for Wu Lei. In behind the Australian defence who went to sleep there. And there was a chance potentially for Wu Yi.
Interestingly, it's Miller Jedinak who soldiered on. First came back from injury. I don't know if he's going to be much longer, and they've escaped that situation. Jedinak couldn't recover the ground.
As you say that, Andy, Mark Milligan appears on the sidelines. He's going to be the next change for Australia. Breaks kindly for Cruz. Outside of the boot for Luongo. It's too far ahead of Robbie Cruz, fortunately for the Australians.
Well, an end switch, Australia. 23 on the left-hand side. Get the chance now to stretch China again.
Troisi, wheeled in by Burns. Off target. Here's the change, and it's not going to be Miller Jedinak. It's going to be the goal-scoring hero with two quite excellent strikes today. Tim Cahill, who in fairness is on a yellow card.
Yep.
Maybe that's the reason, and he's going to get a standing ovation, and here's why.
Brilliant work. Spectacular work. Match-winning work. But today, Tim, your work is done. Take your bow. Enjoy the plaudits, for they're well-deserved. Well, Jedinak's on a yellow card too, remember. Second one in this game will mean he doesn't have to wait till the semi-final to be suspended. And that date just 10 minutes away from being confirmed for Australia.
China still trying to make a game of it. They're going to make another change of their own shortly with another striker, Yang Shu. Standing by to make his entrance. They've got under 10 minutes now to turn it around. Sainsbury. Little floater towards Massimo Luongo. Infield by Troisi. Jedinak. And Milligan with his first involvement. Troisi.
Fantastic first contribution from Mark Milligan, just settling the ship down.
That's what he'll get instructed to do, of course. Don't give them a sniff of a chance. There he is on the ball, the Melbourne Victory midfielder. Now with Troisi. Run by Burns through the centre, but he wasn't found accurately enough by James Troisi.
Just the options in the front third. Frustrating coach Postecoglou, who can just sense that the game can be finished here and now.
Well, if it is, they've got Tim Cahill to thank. Two high-quality goals, worthy of winning an Asian Cup quarter-final. Has gone out of play, linesman agreed. Here's the next change for China. Wu Yi to be replaced by Yang Shu, striker from Changchun Yatai with 13 goals and 33 caps. This guy is your more traditional sort of centre forward, a proper number 9. He's not the most mobile, but he is a decent target man. Maybe they'll look to balls up to him and play around him. And leaving it late, China, their charge.
The most direct comparison, Simon, we have between this performance and the last Australia v China was in 2013. The East Asian Football Federation, 4-3 to China in the city of Seoul. 66% possession for China.
It's broke away because Cruz has teed up Milligan, who's going forward here. Mark Milligan should score! Good save by Wang Dole, who stood up long enough. And now China are on the charge at the other end. Zhang Qi to try and thread it through, but Frenic will shepherd it back to Ryan. Mark Milligan, what a chance to finish it once and for all, but credit the goalkeeper. Made it difficult for him. That's a good release from Milligan. Burns trying to stretch again. Burns beaten away by Wang Dalei. Taken off the toe of the defender by Luongo, tries the cheeky one in the top corner.
Yeah, nice option. Nice option, but unfortunate execution. Nathan Burns, full of intent. Wang Dalei beats the ball away. Robbie Cruz setting up Milligan, who burst through the centre of the field and showed great deftness of touch to make the chance, and really should have made that three. But credit the goalkeeper. Wang Dalei has had a good game. China have got a good one in Dalei.
Cruz battling away. It's two defenders initially.
So back to that East Asian game. 12 of 16 shots on target for China. 673 passes at 92% completion in that 4-3 win. And in the space of time between then and now, the Socceroos under Postecoglou have completely turned the tables.
In some mitigation for that Australian team, it was seriously under strength, whereas China had virtually their first 11. However, the point is valid.
But to mitigate against your mitigation, this was the China
of law.
No, this was the China team that lost at home 5-1 to the Thai under 23s.
That's true. We're going to lose here tonight if we're not careful. They've got very little time left.
But an honourable mention to this campaign for China. When you consider the travails for Chinese football at national team level in the recent years, this has been a welcome turnaround. They've been fabulous ambassadors for their country and its football.
And their fans, who you can hear in the background at the moment, have been absolutely magnificent throughout this Asian Cup. Quite done yet, but we'll get to that one. Australia starting thinking in terms of Newcastle in a few days' time. The big question is a clamour for tickets. How's everybody going to get in?
Well, Newcastle will be very excited to host their national team. We look forward to seeing the stadium jam-packed, literally.
Last international there in 1995, I think, against New Zealand.
Excellent, Matt Ryan. What about the growth of Matt Ryan as an international goalkeeper?
Held forward by Milligan. Shank off the boot of the defender, Zhang Zhipeng. Troisi lining it up and firing it over.
Both Burns and Troisi have got the appetite, if not the final say, but they've been full of intent off the bench. Certainly include Mark Milligan in that.
Offside flag against the substitute, Yang Shu. Postecoglou still demanding more.
And you look at the contributions of the players who've been brought into the team, brought it off the bench. It's a vindication of the work, the extensive work done over the last 12 months to build the squad. Of course, the big ones to come.
And here's the big question. Are they good enough to beat Japan? If indeed Japan get through. They've got the UAE tomorrow. Meantime, Milligan. Burns. Is there some icing on the cake for Australia? Davidson. Should have shifted it a bit quicker. Milligan along the floor, and Wang Dalei was scrambling across his line. Gets it behind for a corner.
You look at Wang Dalei, just didn't have a lot on it from Milligan, but it was the angle and maybe the newly laid turf in the 6-yard box. Keepers don't feel particularly comfortable. It hasn't hurt Matty Ryan, it should be said. Wang Dalei has done a good job tonight, but forced to scramble there off Mark Milligan, who should already have a goal to his name, but for the keeper.
Luongo's corner. Wang Dalei's come a long way and claimed cleanly.
Well, as everyone else is starting to relax, time ticks. Postecoglou is trying to turn up the temperature. He's more active now in the technical area than he was from the start of the match.
Now Wu Lei trying to thread it through in behind for the run of Yang Chu. You can't fault their commitment, China. They've been really good value in this tournament, even if it is to end here tonight. Dug out by Chai Hui Kang. Oh, then a mistake by Zhang Linpeng, and Burns is onto it. Wang Dalei out to meet him, and that's well played by the goalkeeper.
Well, fortune favours the brave. He's been that tonight, Wang Dalei. He backed himself, and he won the day. Nathan Burns, there's no slouch across the ground, and he adjusted brilliantly, the goalkeeper. Needed to as well.
Teammate of Ryan McGowan's at Shandong Luneng. Wang Dalei as we move into 3 minutes of stoppage time. Two moments of magic from Tim Cahill. Good to have the Socceroos on course for the last 4 of the Asian Cup.
It's been a heavily dominant performance from Australia. Led by the coach who sets very high standards, intransigent totally when it comes to how his football teams are to play and how players are to contribute.
Well, he certainly won't be satisfied with just a semi-final. He'll want to go all the way.
And he'll be hoping that semi-final is against Japan.
Cruz darting inside, a very tired-looking China defence. Here's the chance to finish it for Burns. And they managed to get bodies in the way. Now Wu Lei. Might just be consolation now, even if China did score.
You're right, Simon, in your assessment of the magic of Timmy Cahill. It was there for all to see, but there have been plenty of other chances beside. A couple of iffy decisions by Australian players at key moments, and some terrific work by Wang Dalei, and China's goal has kept it at 2, with a couple of flurries for themselves, China as well. Wouldn't have been out of place for them to have had a goal. Postecoglou, if he can maintain it, will be happy for the clean sheet.
That clean sheet is within 60 seconds of being achieved. Alan Perrin in thoughtful pose. Plenty of time to reflect on this Asian Cup before the World Cup qualifiers start in June. They've made good progress at this tournament.
Postecoglou is getting louder, not quieter from the sideline.
Zheng Chongdong, is there some consolation for China at the end? Yu Hai. The crossfired end, but it's a disappointing one from Zhang Zhipeng. Luongo. Perhaps this is the final act of the game. He's robbed. By Ji Sheng. China trying to end the game on the front foot. Started so positively for them here at this venue against the Saudis. That'll be Ryan's. Shout of keeper and a blast on the whistle. And Australia are through to the last 4. Back on track. Ange Postecoglou's team recovering from that stumble against South Korea. And they march on to the semi-finals, where a potential meeting with holders Japan now looms. There's the hero as he exchanges a word with his former Everton teammate Lee Tia, the assistant manager of China, at two very special moments from Australia's talisman has won this game. As for China, the end of a hugely promising tournament. Now they head back home to see if they can push on for those World Cup qualifiers. Australia, though, are heading to Newcastle for a first international in the Hunter in 20 years, thanks to Tim Cahill's brace. Full-time in Brisbane, China 0, Australia 2.
Well, Milo, you just went on a lap of honour after a magnificent Socceroos win. Can you describe how that's feeling right about now?
Yeah, unbelievable. You know, I thought we played the game really well. It was we had to be patient. We knew maybe first half the spaces weren't there, but we knew if we kept at it, and especially that first 10-15 in the second half, that we'd get our opportunities, and that's the way it panned out. And you know, that man again, Tim Cahill, comes up with the goods, but overall just a fantastic team effort. Very disciplined, very organised, and you know, I'm very proud of my team at the minute.
You mentioned that first half. Was there anything that perhaps needed to change, or always a belief there that it would come right at some point?
No, I think it's just a little bit of patience. We felt really comfortable. You know, it was just about working them, keeping them, trying to get them tired. You know, they spent a lot of energy in that first half chasing, and we could sense that. And then it was, you know, up to us to take the opportunities when they came. And then tonight we could have had a few more, but full credit to the boys once again.
Thanks, Mile. Asian Cup semi-final, well done.
Thank you very much.